Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about the idea of expanding our awareness, of understanding how we can powerfully elevate our level of consciousness, and I'm going to be doing it in a new type way. What I'd like to do in this video is kind of like a mix of an interactive meditational exercise where what we do is get ourselves to a very present state of being, and then I share some ideas that I think can help us understand how we can exist in the frame, in the experiential perception of these states of consciousness, and how to really anchor it into a part of who we are. Now, first off, behind this video, a lot of the information will be from a book called Power versus Force by David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins. And in this, he talks and has the scale of different levels of consciousness that are based upon the emotional states of being. And the idea behind it, just to give it a little summary, is that in each of these different emotions are loops of patterns of thinking that if we stay identified to it, it keeps us in the realm of those thoughts. The idea is that as we move up this scale, it becomes to a point to where we then raise our vibration or our level of consciousness to a higher state. Now you'll see that at the bottom we have emotions like shame and guilt, then we'll have like anger, and then we'll move up and eventually we'll have more of neutrality, of willingness, of then eventually the next level of breakthrough is love, peace, joy. Now each of these, there's breakthroughs within each of these different levels of consciousness, and what I'm going to do with this interactive type meditation is show you the way that we would view the world through each different level of these, and understanding how we can then elevate our own level of awareness to get ourselves to live within that frame of awareness. So just to begin this video, first off, let's take a deep breath in and then out, and what we're going to do is bring the awareness into our hands and into our legs and feet. And the purpose behind this is as we bring the awareness out of our head and into our body, we then become more present to the moment, and we take the awareness out of just the intellectual ideas and we make it something that's much more absorbent into us. So right now, let's take a deep breath in. Breathe it out, and then put the awareness into your hands. Put the awareness into your feet, and take another deep breath in and out. We'll do one more. And then as you breathe out, bring the awareness into your chest, into your heart space, and feel the sensation there. And as you begin to know that you're becoming more present to the moment. You're moving yourself from more of a beta state to an alpha state of brainwave activity. And as we begin to get into this state, there's more likelihood that these ideas will get deeper into how we think. So first off, what I'm going to do is take you through 3 different layers of consciousness. 3 different layers for perceptual lenses to which we could see the world, and show you what it's like to live within those frames, and how then we can push ourselves to evolve to the next layer, so that by the end of this meditational awareness exercise, we know how we can live within those frames, and we know how we can get ourselves out of the autopilot mind so that we can really become our full potential. Now, the first level of awareness is actually more of the idea of the unconsciousness of who we are. Most of the population of the world lives within this frame of awareness, and it's through the frame of thinking that they are a victim of circumstance. It comes from thinking that they are at the effect and not of the cause, not knowing that they are creating their own reality. Now, most likely, if you're watching this video, you are already knowing that there is some correlation between the thoughts that you think to what you experience. So most of you have already penetrated this level of awareness, and you can simply have the understanding that most of the way that we define ourselves to be is with a certain self-image, and that based upon the autopilot of the patterns of thoughts that we think, that continues to perpetuate itself to where we think that we are a result of our past, and we are the result of the reference experiences that we've had that have made us think a certain way about ourselves. So if we had a certain experience when we were young where we got in trouble for doing something and then we thought we weren't worthy, we may still create that burden and unconsciously creating that over and over again. But when we start to do this kind of work, we become aware of the beliefs that we have that are creating our reality. Now, this is the second stage. The second stage of awareness is when we start to get out of the autopilot mind of thinking that we are only a result of what we have been doing and thinking that that has to continue to perpetuate what we experience. In this level of awareness, we become aware that our beliefs are creating our reality. That based upon how we define ourselves to be, that based upon who we're being in the moment, the state of being that we're in, and the actions that we're taking, that is creating the kind of life that we have. Now, most of you watching this right now are in that level of awareness, and it's a powerful level to where we understand that we can create anything that we want in our life. In this level of awareness, what we can begin to look at is how we can redefine who we are and how we can let go of the beliefs that are holding us back. So in this first level of awareness, in the first unconsciousness stage, there's a lot of beliefs that we attain that we think this is who I am. I am unworthy. I am lazy. I am not capable of this. As we think those things, as we become aware that that's how we think, we can then choose to let those go. We can choose and see that they served us for a period of our life because they served us in thinking that that's who we were. And now that we're becoming aware that we don't need to be that anymore, we become aware that we can take our power back and we can simply let those go and choose not to identify with them anymore. As we begin to become aware of them, that's when the process starts to where we let go of those unconscious beliefs because we see that they no longer serve us. Before, they were on autopilot and we had no idea because they were unconscious. Now we're conscious of it. Now that we can simply choose to let it go. So in this second level of awareness, what we are aware of is the idea that we are creating our own kind of experience from the beliefs that we have, that we attract who we are being. And as we begin to look at ourselves in this way, we can see that we can be at the cause and not the effect. We can see that we have the ability to redefine who we are, and that as we begin to do that, we then begin to change. Remember that the life experience, that what we experience in our life is a reflection of who we are being. We must first change ourselves before then our life will respond back to us a change. So first off, change how you identify yourself, the self-image that you have. The self-image that you have is being projected to other people. As you change the way you view yourself, people will then respond to the new self-image of who you are. You will then start to literally let go of your past, let go of the beliefs that no longer serve you, and you'll start to actually live your full potential. Now, the third level of awareness that I'll be sharing is understanding the level of love and connectedness. Now, understand that there's a lot of power and experience that we can learn from creating our own reality, of the intellectual ideas of understanding how our beliefs are perpetuating what we experience, understanding how action helps us understand more about how we can get what we want in our life. But at a certain level, we can realize that all truths are true, that any belief that we buy into will always be reflected back to us, but it is not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is you knowing that you are creating your own experience, but that more important than that is the feeling underneath that, is the being, is the dropping of all the intellectual ideas, is realizing that it's not so much about the mentalism of it. It's more about feeling into your heart. It's more about the gratitude. The reason love feels so good to us, the sensation of it, is because that is the natural state of being of who we are. Understand that in this level of awareness, we learn to drop the labels. The only thing that separate us from other people are the labels that we put on other people. And if we drop those labels, we then see that we can connect to other people because there's no judgments there. There's no separation. The labels act as separation. Start to realize that everybody outside of you is a reflection of you. You start to realize that you are more than just your ego, to just who you think you are, that we are all connected, that we have the sensation of love that connects all of us together. And as we begin to become more aware of this, we can then start to see our life in a new way. Because instead of having to try so hard to experience what we want, we can see that we're already worthy. We can see that nothing outside of ourselves is going to make us feel whole and complete. The only thing that can do that is the awareness of who you really are. You are more than you think you are. You are more than your ego. And as you become aware of this, you start to actually embody, to feel, to realize that everything that you experience is an extension of you, is an extension of the love. I'm talking about the big you, not the ego you, the grander you, the you that you can feel connected to everybody else, understanding that you are that. You are which you experience, and therefore you can choose to see your life in a new way. So remember, you can get out of the unconsciousness by becoming aware that you're creating your own reality, by becoming the cause and not the effect. Then you can choose to look at your beliefs that are creating the kind of experiences that you have. You can choose to let go of what doesn't serve you. You can choose to focus on what you want to experience, but that in the next stage of awareness, it's about letting go of all the intellectual ideas, of dropping the separation and realizing that we are all connected, that we are all much more vast than just the little ego of who we think we are. And as we begin to have these new levels of awareness, we start to embody more of who we're meant to be. So I hope this little meditational exercise helps you understand the different levels of consciousness, helps you understand how you can live in the levels that you prefer, understand that the levels isn't a hierarchy, no one is higher than anyone else, they're just different ways to see the world. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.